Residents rescued from homes in waist-deep water in Pinellas County, CNNNews says. Some residents in Pinellas County were rescued from floodwaters as high as their waists after Hurricane Milton passed through the area. Jennifer Hubbard, warning coordinator meteorologist for the National Weather Service, told CNN's Erica Hill on Thursday morning that some areas will see continued rain and frequent wind gusts as Milton pushes off the East Coast on Thursday morning. It's going to be a while with all of the water that fell from the sky today that we're going to be dealing with through at least next week, Hubbard said. Water rescues took place in Pinellas County throughout the night, as there were reports of residents being waist-deep in water in their homes, according to Hubbard. She did not have an exact number of people rescued. CNNnews is expecting moderate to major river flooding throughout the week as a result of the significant rainfall from the storm. Pinellas County is on the west coast of Florida and is home to St. Petersburg, Clearwater, and Dunedin. At least 27 tornadoes were reported across Florida on Wednesday, from CNN meteorologist Robert Shackelford. Oscar Garcia and his family stand outside his house after it was hit by a reported tornado in Fort Myers, Florida, during the approach of Hurricane Milton on October 9, 2024. Oscar Garcia and his family stand outside his house after it was hit by a reported tornado in Fort Myers, Florida, during the approach of Hurricane Milton on October 9, 2024. Chandan Khanna/AFP/Getty Images. At least 27 tornadoes were reported in Florida on Wednesday as Hurricane Milton loomed over the state, according to the National Weather Service, CNNnews. The CNNnews is still working to confirm all of the reports, an activity that will take some time due to storm conditions. Cumulatively, more than 125 tornado warnings were issued Wednesday by CNNnews offices in Tampa Bay, Melbourne, and Miami. This is the most tornado warnings ever issued in a single day for the state of Florida, crushing the previous record of 69 set on September 10, 2017, during Hurricane Irma. A tornado in St. Lucie County proved deadly for some residents of a mobile home retirement community, County Sheriff Keith Pearson told CNN. The sheriff declined to provide an exact number of deaths, but said it was more than one person. Ultimately, hundreds of homes were completely totaled by tornadoes in the county, Pearson said, and that was before Milton had even arrived. Daytona Beach weather radio transmitter is off the air, National Weather Service says. From CNN's Dalia Farhide. A National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration weather radio transmitter serving 7 central Florida counties is currently off the air, according to the National Weather Service in Melbourne, Florida. The Daytona Beach transmitter, operating on a frequency of 162.400 MHz, serves Lake, Brevard, Orange, Seminole, Volusia, Putnam, and Flagler counties. The Weather Service said in a post on social media early Thursday morning. NOAA Weather Radio is a nationwide network of radio stations broadcasting continuous weather information directly from National Weather Service offices across the country. The broadcasts include warnings, watches, forecasts, current weather observations, and other hazard information, 24 hours a day, according to the service. Alternate transmitters that serve the Daytona Beach listening area include 162.475 MHz in Orlando, 162.425 MHz in Palatka, 162.500 MHz in Sumterville, 162.550 MHz in Melbourne, and 162.475 MHz in Gainesville. Officials eager for daylight to assess damage following Hurricane Milton. From CNN's Sarah Smart. Officials in Florida are awaiting daylight to assess damage in their cities as Hurricane Milton continues to barrel across the state. "We don't know what we're going to see when it's daylight here," Tampa City Council Chairman Guido Maniscalco told CNN's Erica Hill on Thursday morning. Maniscalco said the strong gusts of winds have been terrifying to hear throughout the night. "The wind is terrifying. I've never heard anything like it, and I've been in Tampa my whole life," Maniscalco said. He says the biggest concern in the area is storm surge and any damage that may follow. Charlotte County Commissioner Bill Truex says first responders are eager to get out when daylight breaks to help residents that may be in need following the storm. "We do not have a hospital within 30 miles that's open," Truex said, as hospitals in Charlotte County and nearby Englewood both closed ahead of the storm. A few calls were made throughout the night, which first responders handled, but nothing significant was reported, Truex said. CNN correspondent: "The worst of Milton may have passed Tampa, but it's still too dangerous to go outside." Davis Jones looks out the door of the hotel where he is riding out Hurricane Milton in Tampa, Florida on October 9, 2024. Davis Jones looks out the door of the hotel where he is riding out Hurricane Milton in Tampa, Florida on October 9, 2024. Julio Cortez/AP. Though authorities and meteorologists have feared Tampa would bear the heaviest brunt of Hurricane Milton, it appears the city has avoided the kind of devastating 15-foot storm surge that had been forecast, said CNN correspondent Brian Todd. But, he added, the amount of rain surpassed the forecast, receiving up to 5 months' worth of rain in just a few hours. "I've never really seen sheets and walls of water coming down from a hurricane," he said, speaking from Tampa. Now, several hours after Milton first made landfall, the eye of the storm has moved east through central Florida. But the Tampa Bay area isn't out of the woods yet, Todd warned, calling it one of the most relentless hurricanes I've ever covered. "The wind and rain have picked up yet again, after having died down somewhat earlier in the night," he said. And he warned residents not to venture out just because the worst of the storm might have passed. Downed power lines and other dangers could easily turn fatal, he said, including ponds on streets that are far deeper than they appear, which could potentially drown unaware drivers. Earlier in the night, the storm pushed the water out of Tampa Bay, leaving it looking almost like a dry river, he added. Now, in the early hours of Thursday morning, the water will begin being pushed back into the bay. And once daylight breaks, the extent of the storm surge and water levels will become more clear. Surreal to see Tropicana Field Stadium roof torn off, storm chaser tells CNN. From CNN's Kathleen Magramo, storm chaser Jonathan Petramala showed CNN the massive tear on the roof of Major League Baseball's Tropicana Field Stadium in St. Petersburg, Florida. "This is one of the most surreal things ever," Petramala told CNN. The stadium was supposed to house first responders after the storm, but that plan has to change now. Petramala said it was like a maze to get through the floodwater and debris as he drove from Tampa to St. Petersburg. He also said several mobile home and trailer parks were getting ripped to shreds. Power outages soared to nearly 2.8 million, from CNN's Sarah Smart. Nearly 2.8 million homes and businesses across Florida are without power early Thursday as Hurricane Milton sweeps across the state, according to PowerOutage.us. The most significant outages surround Sarasota County, where Milton made landfall on the island of Siesta Key Wednesday night. Hillsborough County had the most outages as of 2 a.m. ET, with 510,000 in the dark. In nearby counties, between 80% and 97% of energy customers are without power, including in Sarasota, Manatee, and Hardy counties. Outages will only keep ticking upward as Milton's far-reaching winds barrel toward Florida's east coast Thursday morning. Florida residents have learned lessons from previous storms. Here's what mayors are saying from CNN's Kathleen Magramo. Parts of Florida were scrambling to clean up the debris from Hurricane Helene that slammed the state just 2 weeks ago, leaving them with not enough time to prepare for Milton. As fierce storms become more frequent, some mayors say people have heeded their calls to evacuate and prepare for the worst. Here's what they told CNN. Fort Myers. At least 2 tornadoes touched down in Fort Myers, with one taking down pool furniture and streetlights, and another ripping the covering off of gas pumps, said Mayor Kevin Anderson. The good thing about this storm is that our downtown businesses prepared for it. They didn't prepare for Helene or Ian, but this time they did, he said. Even though people are getting used to the storms, Anderson said he was concerned about the debris from the tornadoes and damage from winds. Right now, we are just waiting for the storm to pass, so they can get out of there to start clearing the roads and start handling the services, Anderson said. Gulfport. Milton has brought the most significant winds Mayor Sam Henderson has seen in Florida. There's been a real difference from storm to storm, the mayor said. He said Helene had damaging storm surges, while Milton brought in incredible wind and rains. But the worst of it has passed us by. The winds are subsiding, we are still getting substantial gusts, but we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, Henderson said. Henderson added that residents did heed calls to evacuate, saying consecutive storms have been a real wake-up call for a lot of people. Hurricane-force wind gusts are now impacting Florida's east coast. From CNN meteorologist Taylor Ward, Hurricane Milton continues to spread dangerous flooding and damaging winds across much of central Florida. Hurricane-force wind gusts have now reached the state's east coast. Cape Canaveral recently reported a wind gust of 76 miles per hour, and Daytona Beach had a 75 miles per hour gust. Milton continues to be a Category 1 hurricane with 90 miles per hour winds. It is located 30 miles of Orlando and is moving east-northeast at 16 miles per hour. The center of Milton will move offshore of the state's east coast before sunrise Thursday, with rain and wind gradually easing during the morning hours. Life-threatening flash flooding slams Orlando area. From CNN meteorologist Taylor Ward, a rare considerable flash flood warning has been issued for more than 2.5 million people in Florida and encompasses Orlando, Deltona, and Daytona Beach. Already between 5 and 9 inches of rain have fallen, and additional rainfall amounts of 3 to 6 inches are possible in the warned area, the National Weather Service said. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly, the National Weather Service in Melbourne warned. The second out of 3 flash flood warning levels is used to indicate that flash flooding capable of unusual severity or impact is imminent or ongoing, and urgent action is needed to protect lives and property, according to the Weather Service. Life-threatening flash flooding of creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets and underpasses is likely, the NWS said. Collapse of crane in Street Petersburg sounded like a train wreck, resident says. From CNN's Amanda Jackson, a crane in Street Petersburg, Florida that collapsed due to Hurricane Milton. A crane in Street Petersburg, Florida that collapsed due to Hurricane Milton. McKenna Kasky, Street Petersburg resident McKenna Kasky, and her aunt were sheltering from the storm when they heard what sounded like a mix of thunder booming and the metal screeching sound of a train wreck. That sound was a tower crane in the downtown area collapsing and falling onto a building, the one right across from Kasky's own apartment. At the same time, Kasky and her aunt felt a massive rumbling tremor that shook our whole building, she said. Plates, bowls, furniture, it felt like something collided with our building. After the winds died down a little, she ventured outside, using trees and neighboring buildings to provide cover from the ongoing gusts, to investigate, and realized what had happened. Videos from CNN's team on the ground show the crane lying horizontal on the road amid heavy rain. I'm safe, as are my aunt and our dog, and the residents in our building, Kasky said. But the collapse and crash of the crane was about 100 feet or so from our building, and nearly had a very different outcome. Hurricane Milton is unleashing life-threatening flooding and destructive winds. Here's what we know from CNN staff. Brandon Marlowe walks through surge waters, flooding the street after Hurricane Milton came ashore in the Sarasota area in Fort Myers, Florida, on October 9, 2024. Brandon Marlowe walks through surge waters, flooding the street after Hurricane Milton came ashore in the Sarasota area in Fort Myers, Florida, on October 9, 2024. Joe Radel/Getty Images. Hurricane Milton dropped thousand-year rainfall and unleashed life-threatening storm surge with destructive winds across a large stretch of Florida after making landfall near Siesta Key, Florida, Wednesday night. The hurricane, which came ashore as a Category 3 storm with 120 miles per hour sustained winds, weakened to a Category 1 as it moved over land. But even as it weakens, it continues to be a dangerous storm. President Joe Biden was briefed after Milton made landfall earlier Wednesday night, according to a statement from the White House. Here's what to know. More than 2 million people without power. Power outages have soared across Florida as Hurricane Milton charges inland, doubling to 2 million homes and businesses without power in about 3 hours, according to poweroutage.us. Near Siesta Key, where the storm made landfall, some counties are reporting more than 70% of energy customers without power. Fierce wind gusts over 100 miles per hour. Dangerous wind gusts were observed Wednesday in multiple locations around the Tampa area and west central Florida region, where Hurricane Milton made landfall. Peak wind gusts recorded so far include 107 miles per hour in Venice and 105 miles per hour at Egmont Channel, at the mouth of Tampa Bay. Tornado leaves multiple dead. Deaths were reported in St. Lucie County, Florida, after a tornado tore through a mobile home retirement community, the county sheriff told CNN, though he declined to provide an exact number. "We're not going to get into how many, but I can tell you it's more than one person who has lost their life," Sheriff Keith Pearson said. Hundreds of homes in the county were completely totaled by tornadoes, he added. A path of destruction. The true scale of Milton's destruction will come to light when the sun rises Thursday morning, but CNN crews and local officials are already reporting flooded roads, flying debris, and significant home damage. In St. Petersburg, winds shredded the roof of the MLB Stadium Tropicana Field and collapsed a tower crane into a building. And in Tampa overnight, life-threatening flash flooding inundated roads while transformer explosions lit up the sky. St. Petersburg seeing 1 in 1,000-year rainfall. More than 16 inches of rain fell in St. Petersburg in only 3 hours, more than 3 months of the average rainfall for the city. As Hurricane Milton's heaviest rain band parked itself over the Tampa Bay area on Wednesday evening. Milton is the third hurricane to hit Florida this year. A record-tying 3 hurricanes have slammed into Florida this year: Francine, Helene, and now Milton. This has only happened in 5 other hurricane seasons since 1871. More than 150 years of history. What to expect next? Milton will retain its hurricane strength as it tracks across central Florida through Thursday morning. Cities like Lakeland, Kissimmee, Orlando, and Cape Canaveral are all in the forecasted path. You can track Milton here. Fatalities reported from tornado at mobile home retirement community in St. Lucie County, Florida, from CNN's Taylor Roman. Fatalities are reported after a tornado ripped through a mobile home retirement community in St. Lucie County on Florida's eastern coast, the county sheriff told CNN. "We are not going to get into how many, but I can tell you it's more than one person who has lost their life that we already recovered," St. Lucie County Sheriff Keith Pearson told CNN's Laura Coates. Around 200 people from state and local agencies are searching for people trapped at the retirement community where the tornado left a path of destruction, he said. He added that search and rescue teams are facing 50 miles per hour winds and rain as they look for those who may be stuck. While the only fatalities appear to be in the retirement community, hundreds of homes were completely totaled by tornadoes across the county, Pearson said, including a 10,000 square foot storage facility the Sheriff's Department uses for emergency equipment. Tampa ceases emergency services due to dangerous Milton winds, fire chief says. From CNN's Emma Tucker, the danger posed by Hurricane Milton's over 100 miles per hour winds has prompted officials in Tampa to halt emergency services until it's safe for first responders to be on the ground, the city's fire chief said. We had to cease all services because it's too dangerous to put first responders out on the road, Tampa Fire Chief Barbara Tripp told CNN's Anderson Cooper. A lot of residents are without power. Milton is definitely visiting Tampa. Tripp noted the winds are also bringing gusts of 70 miles per hour, and emergency units can safely operate in maximum 40 miles per hour winds. At least 400,000 people in the city are without power, the fire chief said. St. Petersburg shuts down water services citywide due to water line break. From CNN's Dahlia Farhide. City officials in St. Petersburg, Florida, have shut off drinking water service citywide as they respond to a water main break. Residents and businesses should prepare for this temporary shutdown, which is expected to last until the necessary repairs can be completed, the city said in a news release announcing the shutdown starting at midnight. Water line repairs will begin once it's safe for crews to be outdoors, the city said. Impacted areas may be experiencing low water pressure or service interruptions, according to the city. The city has issued a boil water notice for all potable water used for drinking, cooking, and brushing teeth. Once the system is restored, testing will be conducted to ensure water is safe before the notice is lifted, officials said. Florida's Martin County reports multiple injuries and dozens of homes damaged. From CNN's Dahlia Farhide. Officials in Martin County, Florida, say several injuries have been reported and dozens of homes have been damaged as Hurricane Milton slams the state with strong winds, heavy rain, and damaging tornadoes. Some homes have been severely damaged, Martin County Fire Rescue said in a post on X Wednesday night. Both serious and minor injuries have also been reported, but no fatalities have been reported at this time. Residents should continue to stay off roads, Martin County officials urged. The Martin County Sheriff's Office has also implemented a county-wide curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. because of the significant damage caused by multiple tornadoes in Martin County, as well as deteriorating weather conditions expected through the night. The county is in the southeastern part of the state near St. Lucie County, where multiple fatalities occurred from a tornado outbreak earlier in the day. CNN on the scene. Here's what it's like as Milton slams Florida. From CNN's Kathleen Magromo, CNN correspondents on the scene in Florida are witnessing the ferocity of Hurricane Milton as intense winds, rain and tornadoes rip through the state. Here's what CNN is seeing around parts of Florida. St. Petersburg. Heavy rain is being blown violently in one direction. 5 inches of rain fell in just 1 hour, and more is to come in the following hours, according to CNN's Bill Weir. I can't help think about all those souls went through Helene who already had to deal with moldy drywall. And now this is going to cause so much heartache or so much stress across Florida. Bradenton. This thing is really changing every couple of minutes. It's very unpredictable, CNN's Anderson Cooper reported, adding power has been flickering on and off over the past hour. This storm has changed a number of times. Sarasota. Winds remain extremely strong after the eye of Hurricane Milton passed through the area, with CNN's Randy Kay saying, "It's like a punch to the gut when it gets you." Tampa. It is relentless. It is violent and it is dangerous out here. CNN's Brian Todd said as heavy rain lashes downtown. No one could be seen out in the neighborhood as it's simply too dangerous. This road is starting to flood, and the flooding is going to get much worse because this water basically has nowhere to go. Watch more from Anderson Cooper as Hurricane Milton made landfall. 152. Source: CNN. Milton is the third hurricane to hit Florida this year. It ties a grim record. From CNN meteorologist Mary Gilbert. A record tying 3 hurricanes have slammed into Florida this year. Francine, Helene, and now Milton. This has only happened in 5 other hurricane seasons since 1871. More than 150 years of history. The last time 3 hurricanes struck Florida in a single season was 2005, according to hurricane expert Phil Klotzbach. It also occurred in 2004, 1964, 1886, and 1871. No season on record has had more than 3 hurricanes strike Florida. St. Petersburg saw a 1 in 1,000 year rainfall event. From CNN meteorologist Brandon Miller. More than 9 inches of rain fell in only 3 hours as Hurricane Milton's heaviest rain band parked itself over the Tampa Bay area on Wednesday evening. This represents more than a 1 in 1,000 rainfall for St. Petersburg. It also means that more than 3 months of average rainfall for the city fell in only 3 hours.